and welcome to the October 16th, 2023 Eugene City Council public hearing. Thank you for joining us in this hybrid meeting format. Anyone wishing to access the meeting can do so by watching the live stream available on our website, the broadcast on Comcast Channel 21, or by following the instructions listed for this meeting on the public webcast and meeting materials web page. There are 3 public hearings on tonight's agenda. And please note that members of the public who sign up to testify may speak only on the topic that is the subject of the stated public hearing. For those wishing to testify during the hearing, please fill out a request to speak form available on the city's public webcast and meeting materials web page or at the entrance to this room for those of you who are here in person, if you haven't already done so. These request to speak forms will be used to generate the order of speakers and correctly enter speakers' names into the public record. We will accept request to speak we will accept request to speak forms until 5:35. For those of you who are joining the meeting by phone and wish to provide testimony but are unable to complete the request to speak form online, press *9 and the last 3 digits of your phone number will be added to the speaker's queue. And as a reminder, we have a few simple rules of conduct. We ask you not to display flags or sign, speak loudly or in any disruptive language or noise, anything that would disrupt our ability to do business. And we are seeking to create a safe place for everyone to be able to say what they need to say to council and to be heard and to feel safe doing so. And you're always welcome to wiggle your fingers in silent support. And finally, I guess COVID is back. So just a little bit reminder around COVID safety. You're spaced out in the room, but if you're not feeling well, it would be better to watch this and participate in the virtual meeting format. Thank you so much. We do have masks, I believe, at the back of the room. And with that, I'm ready to open a public hearing and ordinance concerning low-income rental housing property tax exemptions. And I'm going to turn to the Assistant City Manager to introduce the topic.
Thank you, Mayor. Christy Hammett, Assistant City Manager, sitting in for City Manager Maderi this evening. Tonight, the first topic, as the Mayor mentioned, is a public hearing on the ordinance amending the low-income rental housing property tax exemption, also known as LRPT. Eugene's LRPT program provides a 20-year property tax exemption to support affordable housing for lower-income residents. In 2023, the Oregon legislature passed House Bill 2080, granting local jurisdictions the authority to allow limited equity cooperatives for low-income households to be eligible for the exemption. The proposed ordinance would amend the Eugene Code to expand LRPT eligibility to include limited equity cooperatives, align the city's LRPT code provisions with the state statutes, and improve code readability. The next action on this topic is potentially October 23rd.
Okay, thank you very much. And with that, I now open the public hearing and we'll turn it over to staff to announce the speakers.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 2 minutes till that forum closes.
Oh,
preliminary it looks like we have 1 person for that topic.
All right. Well, we'll sit quietly for a couple of minutes and make sure everyone has an opportunity to sign in. I got through the opening too fast. That's almost unheard of.
Less than a minute.
Okay. We have one speaker for the first topic. Zoom. And we have one speaker for that first topic. It's Jeffrey Albanese, who is in Zoom. So I'm not going to go through my full spiel for that, but Jeffrey, you will have 3 minutes to speak. If you're watching the meeting, the timer should be visible. A yellow light will come on when you have 15 seconds to complete your comments. The red light indicates the end of the 3 minutes. For those who have connected to the meeting via phone, oh, no, we don't need that. Please note that there's no screen sharing or displaying information on the screen, and any misuse of the platform or violation of the council's code of conduct will result in immediate termination of speaking privilege. Give me just a moment to promote Jeffrey to panelist. Jeffrey, go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Mayor Benes and members of the council. My name is Jeffrey Albanese. I live in Ward 3, and I'm also the program director for Square One Villages, a nonprofit shelter provider and affordable housing developer in town. And I'm speaking in support of the ordinance concerning the LRPD program. As was mentioned earlier in the year, the legislature expanded the LRPD statute eligibility so that it could include limited equity housing cooperatives in addition to affordable rental housing. When those limited equity housing cooperatives have articles and bylaws restricting their residents to 60% of area median income or lower, and who ensure that they'll remain affordable in perpetuity. The ordinance before you would bring the city's LRPD program into line with what the legislature just adopted earlier in the year. The LRPD program that the city already has is a really great program. One of the things that I think is great about it is that every dollar of the tax exemption has to get passed on directly to reduced monthly rents for low-income households. So I think it's a very efficient way to support affordable housing. Square One Villages is currently building a 70-unit limited equity housing cooperative in the Santa Clara neighborhood called the Peace Village Cooperative. It'll most likely have people moving in a little before the end of the year. And this ordinance would allow the Peace Village Cooperative to benefit from that support from the city for low-income households. Just for frame of reference for what that would mean for the folks living at Peace Village, if you adopt the ordinance, we estimate it would probably end up saving the cooperative about a little under $60 per household per month in reduced charges that they have to pay every month. And so while the LRPD program requires that households be making 60% of the area median income or under, I think what this will allow the Peace Village Cooperative to do is charge monthly charges that are actually closer to the affordability level for 40 to 50% AMI households. So yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Mayor, that was our final speaker for the first hearing.
Hey, thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments from council on this item?
I had a quick one, Mayor.
Okay.
It's an informational. Attachment B, it's indicated the way to request an application is by emailing staff. Is that a practice that we see throughout our state? Is that a tried and true practice? Why is emailing staff what's the reasoning behind that pathway?
Councilor Keating, thank you for the question. I think I'll let Laura Hammond weigh in on that. She'll probably have more information.
Hi. Hello, Mayor and Council. Thank you so much for the question. Yes, for the LERPD application process, we do have to process those applications within 60 days of receiving them. So we ask that we get the applications via email so we can prepare to make sure we're ready to take those to council within the next 60 days. So we generally ask for them to folks to email us so we're aware that somebody is interested in that program, and then we can prepare to make sure we're going to be ready to take that information to council in 60 days.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? All right, with that, I guess I didn't close before I closed the public hearing. And now we're ready for our second hearing, an ordinance amending the Eugene Springfield Metropolitan Area General Plan Diagram. And again, I turn to the Assistant City Manager to introduce this.
Thank you again, Mayor. Tonight, the Eugene City Council is holding a public hearing to consider a Metro Plan amendment that would change the land use designation on the properties from campus industrial to light medium industrial. This amendment is necessary for the applicant's concurrent request to change the zoning of the property from E1 campus employment to I2 light medium industrial. These changes are requested for two properties on the west side of Eugene between South Owen Loop and West 11th Avenue. The applicant has requested these changes to facilitate the development of a new facility for Cintas, as discussed in the AIS. Tonight is a public hearing only, and deliberations are scheduled for November 13th.
Okay, thank you. The City Council's role in this process is to approve with modifications, or deny the application. The decision-making process for this application is considered quasi-judicial, so we will use a quasi-judicial format for this public hearing. To start, do any councilors need to disclose any bias, conflicts of interest, ex parte communications, or abstentions pursuant to EC 9.7065? Councilor Gross.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't think it's a conflict, but I have had conversations with Cintas on this, and but I'm coming in with an open mind.
Okay, thank you.
If I may, Lauren Summers, Assistant City Attorney. Councilor Groves, can you just give a little bit more detail about what the substance of those conversations were?
Sure. Basically, it was actually the mayor was in the meeting with me,
right,
and we met, I believe, on 2 occasions, and basically just learned about the project and what they're doing, and then also learned more about Cintas. And this is in my ward.
Okay. So now that those ex parte contacts have been disclosed, Mayor, I think you'll say this as part of your script as well, but during this public hearing, if anyone wants to rebut the substance of those contacts, they are free to do so.
Okay. And I will just add that I was also in one of those meetings with Councilor Groves hearing about this project. But feel my neutrality on this is established. Okay. Before we proceed, I want to state that anyone testifying has the right to address and rebut the substance of the ex parte communication just disclosed. Have staff received any challenges to a councilor's impartiality submitted pursuant to Eugene Code Section 9.70655? We're not hearing you, Jeff.
Jeff, we can't hear you.
Is that any better?
Yes. Yes.
My apologies. What a joke that was. Jeff Kepper, Senior Planner for the Planning Division. We have not received any. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Testimony presented at this public hearing should be directed toward the applicable approval criteria or other criteria that the speaker believes apply to the decision. The applicable approval criteria for this Metro Plan amendment and zone change are located in Eugene Code Sections 9.7735 and 9.8865. The full text of those code sections is available in the findings attached to the AIS for this public hearing. The failure of anyone to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the city council and parties an opportunity to respond will preclude appeals on that issue. For quasi-judicial proceedings, once the public hearing is opened, speakers will be called in the following order. First, those in support, including the applicant. Second, those with a neutral position. And third, those opposed. If you would like to receive future notice of this application and become an interested party, please provide your name and mailing address with your testimony or reach out to staff with this information. I will now open the public hearing, and I believe we are joined by the applicant's representative, Teresa Bichot. And please come forward to make a statement.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Teresa Bichot, and I'm a land use planning consultant. My office is located at 374 West 4th Avenue in Eugene, and I live in Ward 2. I'm here tonight on behalf of Cintas in support of the applications. We believe there's substantial evidence in the record that all of the approval criteria have been met. Cintas currently serves nearly 2,000 customers in the local area, and the plan amendment and zone change will allow them to relocate and expand their facility, increasing the physical size, increasing substantially the number of employees, and enhancing customer service. I'll just touch briefly. I know that you are not this evening adopting a site plan, that you're amending the metro plan and the zoning, but I do want to just take this moment to say that the Green Hill Technology Park, where they're locating, provides them an exceptional locational advantage, being near major transportation corridors. And the particular facility will be an attractive use and complement the other nearby uses. There will be a landscape buffer along West 11th. There'll be open space, likely that exceeds city requirements. In stormwater facilities, our initial designs are looking really exciting with rainwater garden and stormwater ponds to complement again the overall attractive appearance in the Green Hill Technology Park. The increase in local jobs will also increase the diversity of jobs. The facility will have its own laundry processing facility actually at the Eugene plant, which will substantially reduce the use of fossil fuels. The products will no longer have to be shipped up to Portland and then transferred back to Eugene. They will be installing a state-of-the-art laundry facility, and I'm very pleased to report that they're looking at a goal of 50% water reuse. So if you're looking to support jobs for the local economy and you're looking to do something positive for the environment, I strongly encourage you to vote yes. And that concludes my presentation, unless you have any questions.
Thank you. Cherish, do we have anybody else signed up to speak?
Yes, we have 3 speakers in support, none neutral, and 1 opposed. This is the list of those in support. And this is the speaker who is opposed. Okay. If you have signed up to speak via Zoom, please take this time to ensure that your screen name in Zoom includes your last name and matches the name you used to sign up to speak. I will announce 2 speakers' names at a time. If you are providing testimony via Zoom and you are the next speaker, I will promote you to a panelist status. And when it is your turn to speak, you can unmute and turn on your camera if you wish. If you are announced as the next speaker and physically in the room, please move to the seat in the front row designated for the next speaker. When it is your turn, you may come to the podium. Please leave any bags you may have with you at your seat. When you are called to speak, please state your name, address, and whether you support, oppose, or are neutral to the proposed code amendment before beginning your comments. You will have 3 minutes to speak. If you are watching the meeting, the timer should be visible. A yellow light will come on when you have 15 seconds to complete your comments. The red light indicates the end of the 3 minutes. For those who have connected to the meeting via phone and don't have the benefit of seeing the timer, please be aware that your microphone will be muted at the 3-minute mark. Please note that screen sharing or displaying information on the screen is not allowed, and any misuse of the platform or violation of the council's code of conduct will result in immediate termination of speaking privilege. Our first speaker this evening for this hearing is Tim Kidd, followed by Adam Dimmering.
Good evening. My name is Tim Kidd. First off, I'd like to just say thank you. I work for Cintas Corporation, and I hope to get this approval through from a standpoint that when I started with Cintas in 1998, 25 years ago, the dream was always to what can we do with this operation. When I started with Cintas, there was 5 of us. We were in a single wide trailer. Remember thinking, what did I get myself into straight out of college? And who would have guessed 25 years later, I'm still there. A little bit about Cintas. Cintas started from humble beginnings by a husband and wife that created this company from walking around picking up wiper towels when they lost their job in the circus during the Great Depression. They built the company into what it is today. It's remained within the family and has gone public, but it's built itself into the largest single uniform supplier in the United States. Locally, we currently now are up to 74 partners. That's what we call everybody that works for our location. Well, I forgot to include, I don't know if you knew this or not, we're at 29536 Airport Road, basically on the corner of Highway 99 Airport Road by Pape and Glory B. From a corporate citizenship standpoint, we've done the right thing proactively. We've been in Oregon Sharps Alliance for a few years. Then we graduated and went up to the VPP with Oregon OSHA. I think we're one of just 2 sites in Lane County that are VPP sites when it comes to safety and regulation. I think the other thing that's important to me is at the end of the day, the opportunity that we're creating, not just from an environmental standpoint, but from a work environment, doubling the size of our operation, creating more jobs in Eugene that are above minimum wage jobs for everybody. We don't have anybody at our current site that's at a minimum wage job, not even close. We'll be creating more of those along with more management leadership positions from our community, which I think is just great for our community. That's all I have, unless you have a question for me.
Thank you, Tim. Our next speaker is Adam Dimmering, followed by Patrick Flanagan.
Good. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. My name is Adam Dimmering. Office address is 27 Whitney Drive, Milford, Ohio, 45150. I'm speaking in support of the applications tonight. Appreciate your time and consideration. I've been with the company 19 years, currently the engineering director based out of our corporate office in Ohio. I'm responsible for all building construction across the country for Cintas. And like Tim said, we're really excited to potentially expand our operation here in Eugene. We think it's a very good match, from our standpoint, hopefully from your standpoint, it is as well, with our ability to grow jobs and provide a quality job and opportunity for a lot of people here in Eugene. We'll say that the zone change we're asking for from E1 to I2 fits our use well and is really consistent for us across the country with other zones that we construct buildings in. So again, appreciate your time. That's all I have to say unless you have any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Our final speaker in support is Patrick Flanagan.
Hello. My name is Patrick Flanagan. I'm with Arco Murray out of Chicago. The address is 3110 Wood Creek Drive, Downers Grove, Illinois, 60515. I'm speaking in support of Cintas. We personally at Arco have a long-standing relationship with Cintas. We've built facilities for them across the country. We've developed a partnership with them that we appreciate, and we're excited for the opportunity to build in Eugene. That's all I have.
Thank you, Patrick. Mayor, I had originally thought there was someone speaking in opposition, but they had signed up for the wrong list. So that was our final speaker for this second hearing.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any staff response to anything that you've heard?
None at this time.
Okay, thank you. And I'm assuming the applicants don't want to rebut any of their own testimony, so we'll leave that there. Are there any questions that councilors wish to ask staff about this project? Okay, with that, I will close the public hearing, and unless there are any objections from council, I will also close the record for these applications. Okay, thank you very much. And as a reminder, deliberations and possible action are scheduled for November 13th, 2023, and thank you very much. And with that, we are ready to go on to our third public hearing, an ordinance adopting an amended urban renewal plan for the Riverfront Urban Renewal District. And again, I will turn it over to the Assistant City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. The final public hearing tonight is on a proposed amendment to the Riverfront Urban Renewal Plan. The Riverfront District is set to sunset on June 2024, and the Urban Renewal Agency has reached the current spending limit of $34.8 million. Council, acting as the Urban Renewal Agency Board, initiated the amendment process on September 13th, 2023. The proposed amendment includes 3 possible spending scenarios with different increases to the spending limit. Council seeks feedback on these scenarios, which includes raising the spending limit by $15 million, $25 million, or $45 million. The proposed amendment also clarifies existing projects that remain eligible for the urban renewal funds and expands the list of projects eligible for urban renewal funds to include support for new housing, physical improvements to the address safety and comfort, and projects directed by the agency board. Council is scheduled to review comments from the public, planning commission, and taxing districts on November 15th. Action on the ordinance is scheduled for November 27th.
Okay, thank you. I now open the public hearing, and we'll turn to Cherish again to share the list of speakers.
If you have signed up to speak via Zoom, please take this time to ensure that your screen name in Zoom includes your last name and matches the name you used to sign up to speak. I will announce 2 speakers' names at a time. If you are providing testimony via Zoom and you are the next speaker, I will promote you to panelist status. And when it is your turn to speak, you can unmute and turn on your camera if you wish. If you are announced as the next speaker and physically in the room, please move to the seat in the front row designated for the next speaker. When it is your turn, you may come to the podium. Please leave any bags you may have with you at your seat. When you are called to speak, please state your name, address, and whether you support, oppose, or are neutral to the proposed code amendment before. Nope, not that one. Okay. You will have 3 minutes to speak. If you are watching the meeting, the timer should be visible. A yellow light will come on when you have 15 seconds to complete your comments. The red light indicates the end of the 3 minutes. For those who have connected to the meeting via phone and don't have the benefit of seeing the timer, please be aware that your microphone will be muted at the 3-minute mark. Please note that screen sharing or displaying information on the screen is not allowed, and any misuse of the platform or violation of the council's code of conduct will result in immediate termination of speaking privilege. Our first speaker this evening will be Alan Hancock, followed by Don Hetty.
Good evening. My name is Alan Hancock. My address is 2244 Alder Street, and that is in Ward 2. And I support the plan amendment with some reservations, and I'll talk about that in a moment. I support the amendments to the Riverfront Urban Renewal Plan, increasing the amount of allowable indebtedness. However, there is a major omission in the proposed plan amendment that needs to be rectified. On page 20 and 21 of the planned amendment, there's a list of projects specified that are part of the Eugene 2035 Transportation System Plan located in the plan area. And there's one project that's missing. It's a very important one. It is PB8 And that's on page 74 of Eugene's transportation system plan. And that's an Alder Street rail crossing. So it's on the system plan, but it is not in the plan amendment. It's within the urban renewal area, but it is not in the amendment. It needs to be included. And why? Currently, the bicycle and pedestrian connection between the university and the riverfront is unsafe, it's inconvenient and unpleasant. And I've been on the active transportation committee probably longer than just about anyone in the city of Eugene. And I've actually served on the BPAC in San Mateo County when I was 15 years old. So I've been doing this for a long, long time. And I can tell you the three things that are needed for people to walk and to ride their bike is it needs to be safe, it needs to be convenient, and it needs to be pleasant. If it's not all three of those, the use goes down quickly. And the only connection now between the university near Alder Street on the west side of campus and the riverfront is that little stub that's being across the railroad tracks. And there are going to be some improvements there, the railroad quiet zone. However, even after those improvements, it will still be unsafe. It will be perceived as unsafe by families because you have to cross tracks. It will be inconvenient because you have to go all the way around, and it's not pleasant. I think you as council have a bigger picture than transportation staff who just see it as infrastructure and can understand the importance and the vitality of a connection that celebrates that connection between the riverfront and the university and then the downtown and the steam plant and the riverfront park and the new housing are dependent on people riding their bikes and walking because there's just not room for parking or for cars to be able to access that area anyway. So in conclusion, I want to encourage you to increase the indebtedness limit and to make sure that that project is included and that going forward as you consider projects that be included as a funding priority. I should say it hasn't been risen to a higher level by staff in part because it's an expensive project. It's not something that could be done easily with bond funds or other measures. So this is the kind of thing that would need leverage to be able to be funded. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Our next speaker is Dawn Hetty, followed by Tiffany Edwards.
Good evening. Yes, I'm addressing the Urban Agency Board, staff, and stakeholders. Dawn Hetty, Ward 7. I really like context. Wherefore, of what's past is prologue, what to come in yours and my discharge. Past is prologue. Bill Shakespeare, The Tempest. I'd like us to take a little walk. Imagine facing the DeFazio bike bridge about to cross. Oh, there's City Hall. We're in a beautiful plaza. Walk over a few steps past the totem and we're going to go down. Wonderfully crafted access to the bike path. Again, there's City Hall to our right. We're going to loop around and go underneath the bridge, pop up. We're on Second. There's the Campbell Community Center and a wonderfully vibrant, organic, I wish we could replicate it any place, nodal neighborhood with multi-level family housing and income level housing. There's commercial, there's office. Let's cruise on down Third. We're at High Street. The Mims homes that we just had on our agenda last week. And I would like to mention this. In their courtyard, a beautifully placed millstone from the mill pond that used to exist right there. Read the plaque, it's wonderful. We're right now at what we approved last week. There's this wonderful new building going to go there. By the way, the sight lines work. And there, just past it, is an entrance that we just got mentioned. So let's on down into the riverfront area here. And there's infrastructure, Annie Mims, Wiley Giffen, and our steam plant. Let's get unreasonable about that steam plant because there's a lot of reasons. So I'm in favor of maximum indebtedness. And I've got a few ideas, and I'm going to lay a few out here because I laid a few out here last week. The way we make that project work is we make it accessible. Yes, it's got to be accessible. And boy, what a wonderful use for that piece of land that we can't do anything with but put parking on. And look east, our future. 10, 20 years, ecotourism. You know what we need to put at those railroad crossings? And thank Oregon City Elevator. Escalators that give access, that get paid for by all the events and things that we have going on inside our riverfront district. Because that hotel will be a winner if it's helped and we do the right things to bring people there. That's it. Gorgeous. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Our next speaker is Tiffany Edwards, followed by John Borofsky.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilors. I'm Tiffany Edwards, resident of Ward 5, but I'm here tonight testifying in support of the amended plan for the Riverfront Urban Renewal District on behalf of the Eugene Chamber of Commerce. We have submitted a letter into the record, but I just want to spend a few minutes expressing our support. As an organization dedicated to the economic prosperity of this region, the Chamber cannot overemphasize the positive impact of extending the spending capacity of the Riverfront Urban Renewal District. This investment creates opportunities to expand the housing market and invite further business development, reaping significant returns both for the city and the broader community. However, while we support the maximum proposed spending allocation presented by staff, we don't believe that $45 million goes far enough to best leverage this tool with realistic public and private project costs while maximizing the opportunities we have in the Riverfront District. We're concerned that $45 million will limit and slow investment in the urban renewal area, and we'd like to encourage an increase in the spending limit of at least $60 million. In June, Council approved extending the downtown urban renewal area by $50 million. The Riverfront District is significantly larger. It lacks infrastructure. It will be costly to develop. And then due to the regulatory environment, the proximity to the Willamette River, land use timelines, et cetera, $45 million just won't stretch as far as it appears. So as such, we would like to encourage council to think bigger and broaden the possibility of what the Riverfront District could become. Additionally, I want to make 3 points about some following considerations regarding strategic investments for these funds. Number 1, prioritize projects to leverage private taxable investment to promote business development that's complementary to the Knight campus and other economic generators. This may include high-speed fiber, the mill race enhancement, undergrounding existing overhead utility lines, projects like that. Second, strategically invest in the connections between the riverfront and downtown urban renewal districts. And then third, thoughtfully consider prioritizing investment that will generate property taxes from new or expanded private development. This generates ongoing, long-term, stable funding to support all the other critical community services. Urban renewal is one of the only economic development tools we have available for making these essential improvements to support the public and private partnerships, critical creating strong and vibrant economic base in an area which would otherwise struggle to find renewal. Invest now to set our community up for future success. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tiffany. Our next speaker is John Borofsky, followed by Katie Wilgus.
Okay, you got me?
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor and agency directors. Thanks for the opportunity for public testimony on this issue. With Oregon's current tax system, tax increment financing is one of the few tools that local officials have at their disposal to spur economic development. Under your guidance, we have seen very positive results using the tool entrusted to you. The farmers market, downtown fiber, 1059 Willamette, which will be coming to fruition soon. Also transforming the former eWeb industrial site into a welcoming park and new housing. These projects have given the community confidence that the agency can be trusted to take advantage of the opportunities that urban renewal affords us. The proposals before you are good ones. However, me and many of us in the business community feel that we can go for more. The Riverfront District has so many opportunities to enhance the city as a whole. The opportunities that the Knight campus presents cannot be underestimated. We could be at the cutting edge of major breakthroughs that can spur investments that may be cited in the Riverfront Urban Renewal Agency's boundaries. We also know that housing is a major need for our community, and this tool can help us make progress towards our common goals in this area. We also know that costs keep going up, and dollars equal door front. These are the few of the reasons that we hope you will consider raising the spending limit to $60 million rather than $45 million. We have an opportunity to go big. This community is ready to go big, and we as a business community will do what we can to help promote all the good things that we can achieve through this plan amendment. So I hope you guys will move it forward and go for the higher spending limit. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Our next speaker is Katie Wilgus, followed by Molly Goulet.
Good evening, Mayor and City Councilors. My name is Katie Wilgus. I live in Ward 8, and I serve as the Executive Director for Downtown Eugene, Inc. I'm speaking tonight because of the tremendous economic development opportunities that can be taken advantage of by extending the Riverfront Urban Renewal Amendment. I think the majority of us agree that one of the most urgent needs for investment is housing. I stood before you as you considered the Downtown Urban Renewal Amendment, and I'll stress again that housing is a key piece to vibrancy, and we're short on both. Another immediate need is the development of a safe and inviting multimodal connection between our downtown core and the riverfront. I believe we will all reap the rewards of a well-connected inner city immediately and in the long term. The Riverfront Urban Renewal District is large and is just starting to see a lot of momentum. I know you've identified some potential projects, and there are many more to consider. I'm concerned that capping the spending limit at $45 million will keep you from accomplishing what you might consider as core projects and certainly won't allow room for extras. So my ask tonight is that you think big.
Thank you, Katie. Our next speaker is Molly Goulet, followed by Stephen Dyer.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilors. My name is Molly Goulet. I am a homeowner in Ward 1. My address is 875 West 20th Avenue. I work with homeless veterans, and I see the effects of our housing shortage every day in Eugene and just how difficult it is to get into a unit. So I'm asking that you support the maximum spending if housing projects can be expanded and maximized as well. Part of my experience in law school was to write a fellowship thesis on affordable housing instruments. And we really understand already what creates vibrant communities and how housing plays into that. Given that the area is still, I believe, more than 10,000 units short of housing, I think this is a priority that would make a big difference in our community. And here are some strategies that I would suggest in order to maximize this possibility. First, 3/4 of new development should be affordable to low income or very low income households, and work with development nonprofits like Development Northwest or Habitat for Humanity to encourage both affordable rentals and low income ownership opportunities. Would help area families who are being priced out stay locally. Additionally, much of the new development has been focused on student housing, and really we need to see more 2- and 3-bedroom units and not quads or studios. So making sure that the units that are available can house families, physically accessible units so that folks can get around and participate in community. So many units are old or out of code. That would make a really big difference for our neighbors who have accessibility needs. Having mixed use development with robust transportation options would reduce car dependency, create physical community, and allow the development of a commercial tax base, which would help fund this in the future.
We know that stable housing is good for society, and especially children's whose worlds are then not upended or have school changes or other unstable factors in their homes. Because we know what policies promote safe and stable communities, I ask that you implement them as part of this plan.
Thank you, Molly. Our final speaker is Stephen Dyer. Is there Stephen Dyer in the room? It appears Stephen Dyer is not present, so that was our final speaker.
Okay, thank you. With that, I'll close the public hearing. And are there any comments or questions from council on anything you've heard? Councilor Groves.
Can someone from staff, excuse me, can someone from staff respond to the first speaker speaking to the bike ped and the safe crossing? I'm interested in that.
Yes, good evening, Councilor Groves. That project would be eligible under the physical improvements to address safety and comfort. The projects that are included from the transportation system plan are included as example of need and projects that have already been identified. So it was an oversight that it was not included, but that project would still be eligible for urban renewal funds.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Councilor Keating.
I appreciate Councilor Groves bringing that piece up. I was going to ask about Alan's testimony. So thank you for providing testimony. Thank you for the question. Mayor, I have a question about the downtown riverfront policies. There's a piece that indicates that the policy is to create a people place that is active, vibrant, accessible, and multi-use. And I see Denny in the back, Denny Bro. So this may be fielded by Denny in particular. But when I look at the Riverfront District, Mayor, and the conversation about expanding our debt limit or spending limit, excuse me, has there been any conversation with our county partners and with Eugene Emeralds about utilizing the space, the riverfront space as a potential home for a ballpark that is perhaps attached to the steam plant, that is perhaps attached to affordable housing units? How creative in that space can we be? And essentially, does it fit?
Good evening. Thanks for that question, Mayor, Councilor Keating. Denny Bro, Planning and Development. When we first looked at potential locations for the Emeralds, we scanned the entire city to try to figure out where a stadium would fit. The riverfront area was one of the areas we looked at on both sides of the river, Alton Baker and on the downtown side. A baseball stadium actually takes up a lot of room. And generally between the confines of the river and the railroad track, there just isn't enough room for a baseball stadium on this side of the river. So we couldn't fit it. I mean, we did look at it. It takes a lot of space for a baseball stadium.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? With that, I think thank you all for testifying. We are adjourned.